What do I do about the fact that my child looks for approval on what they're going to eat? So they clear, like, is it okay for me to eat this? Did I eat too much with you? In eating disorders, it's very common patterning to do what we call reassurance seeking, wherein your child asks you for reassurance about something they're doing. This doesn't just have to be about food. There can be reassurance seeking with athletic participation, with school attendance, with academics, anything your child does that feels like a lot of like checking in with you, even when you know they know the answer or they know that you cannot predict. For example, there's no way for you to predict how they're going to do at a sports game. There's no way for you to predict even how they'll do necessarily on a test. If your child does a lot of reassurance seeking, it's probably part of their anxiety patterning. So, with parents, I talk a lot about safety behaviors and limiting safety behaviors. Safety behaviors are very adaptive. Kids create safety behaviors, checking under the bed, asking mom and dad, is it okay that I'm eating this snack? Because it helps them feel safe. They develop this patterning for a reason. But over time, it's usually not something they can sustain. Over a long period, most kids actually end up feeling worse as a result of the constant reassurance seeking. As a parent, it's very important to identify that, in fact, the dialogue of three voices, worried voice, false comfort, right? The back and forth. So, sorry, the dialogue of two voices, worried voice, false comfort, creates an anxiety loop. Worried voice says, I'm really worried I ate too much for snack. And then false comfort says, no, I'm sure you're fine. Worried voice says, it really felt like maybe too much yogurt. False comfort says, okay, well, let's just ask mom. She'll tell us, right? But as these two voices are going back and forth, worried voice, false comfort, worried voice, false comfort, you are getting progressively more and more and more and more anxious. In that way, it is the parent's responsibility to interrupt this patterning by not allowing your child to do safety behaviors. And you may be your child's safety behavior. So you don't have to do it right away. It can be like kind of jarring if you've been your child's safety behavior and if you've been providing reassurance for some time. It can be kind of jarring to suddenly come to your child and say, I am no longer going to answer questions like this. So when they're in a, what I recommend is when they're in a calm place, you can very simply come to your child and say, you know, when you do that thing where you ask me if you had enough yogurt for snack, I think we shouldn't do that anymore because I don't think in the long run it's actually helping you feel calm. And so going forward, I'm probably just going to let you know that I don't think I should answer that or I don't think we should get into it. So do that and have that conversation with your child. Then the next time they're really looking for the reassurance, two things. Remind them, I don't know that it's a good idea that I answer questions like this. And if that makes them frustrated, you can validate what they're feeling and feel curious about the feelings they're experiencing, but don't get stuck in the content. Parents often feel like if I can just give my child enough facts, enough information, if they can just know that yogurt is safe for them to eat, that there's plenty of protein in it, I'm not worried if they overeat it, right? Parents often feel like if I can give my children plenty of information, then they won't feel as anxious about it. For kids who experience really profound anxiety, logic only goes so far. So, in many ways, it's your job simply to just ride the wave of their anxiety and not get sucked down into content. In many cases for eating disorders, no amount of information will ever be enough. And in many ways, the content is irrelevant. Your child will not feel like the content is irrelevant. Your child will feel like it's very important that I know that I exactly ate the right amount of yogurt. But your goal is to sort of ride that wave of anxiety. So, what do I recommend for parents? Number one, always manage your own anxiety. Ride that wave of parental anxiety. It's going to feel awful, but it is your job in the context of your kid's eating disorder to stay as calm as you possibly can. It's very hard. It's not easy. Number two, remind them when they're in a calm moment that maybe I'm going forward, I'm just not going to answer questions like that because I don't think it helps you feel more calm. Number three, validate the valid, validate how they're feeling, validate their concerns. Um, Number four, stay curious. Ask them more maybe about what they're feeling without getting sucked into content. Number five, don't get sucked into content. No amount of logic. I've had a colleague say that once you've gone over the bridge into anxiety land, no amount of logic is going to get you back over the bridge. The only thing that will get you back over the bridge is sort of acceptance of what is. And honey, I know it feels really uncomfortable to feel this way, but we're just going to allow time to pass. You're not shoving thoughts away, you're not pushing thoughts away, you're just sort of letting thoughts wash over your body and allowing time to pass. Okay, until next time.